Alright, welcome back. Once again, I'm glad you're here. This is another game that I just played that I thought was another interesting one, so I wanted to take a closer look at it. I start the game with e4, and my opponent responds with e5. I play knight to f3, attacking this pawn on e5. And instead of defending the pawn, my opponent plays an interesting move, d5. So chess.com tells me that this is known as the elephant gambit. I didn't recognize in game that it was the elephant gambit, but I did have a sneaky suspicion that it was some type of gambit that my opponent wanted me to take this free pawn here. And then if I do that, his dark squares are very open for the bishop and queen to come in here and start attacking this f2 square really aggressively. And I wouldn't have a whole lot to defend it with. It could be a very quick checkmate if I don't play that right. So I don't want to take that pawn. I'm scared to take it. Instead, I want to play my game. So what I decided to do is knight to c3, getting a second attacker on this pawn, thinking I can try to just mess up whatever gambit he's doing, and also putting a defender here. So if he wants to do this, he can, because I take back. So I play the knight to c3. My opponent plays c6, getting another defender on this pawn and also stopping my knight from going to this b5 square. At this point, I do want to play aggressive. In my own right, I see that I do have two knights out, and my opponent does not have any minor pieces out. And I do have this free pawn sitting here, so I finally decided to take it. At this point, it still seems to be a safe position. I know that this f2 square is a little bit weak, but I think I can defend it at this point. So my opponent does go with bishop to c5, looking right at that square that I was talking about. But what I see here is that because I took the gambit, now I'm looking at knight to f7 and forking the queen and the rook. And let me go back here. That's not what I meant to do. And I have this light square diagonal open, so if I get my queen right here, that could even be a quick checkmate of my own. So I want to play aggressive here. I play queen to f3, looking at that, again, looking for a checkmate of my own, but also completely thwarts this attack that my opponent was looking at on the f2 square. The bishop can't come in now. If the queen wants to come in, we just trade queens. So my opponent sees that this is checkmate, and plays knight to h6, defending this f7 pawn. So I play d3, getting this pawn off of this dark square diagonal, and this activates my dark square bishop. I'm looking to kick this knight. So if I can just kick this knight away, I have checkmate. So my opponent does not want to let that happen. Instead, he decides to attack my queen. I'm not ready to go for the checkmate yet because the knight's still here, and this does mess up my attack. I need to address this. I can't take back because then I lose my queen. And so what I decide to do is just move my queen one square ahead to f4. I'm really looking at this attack here. Looking back, there may have been some better moves, but I'm really looking for this this quick checkmate here if I can get it. The only problem here is I did block off the dark square bishop, so I still have to worry about this knight. But my opponent actually takes the opportunity here to castle and sort of gets his the pressure off of that king there off of the f7 square, because now he's actually safe if he can get into the corner here. So next I go bishop to e2, just looking to attack my opponent's bishop. And he plays f6, kicking my knight away. So here I decide to trade. I take the bishop with my knight, my opponent takes back, and I take back with my light square bishop. My opponent pushes the pawn here, looking to kick my queen away, and I actually leave my queen there, and I go for a check. King moves to g7. I bring my queen to g4. At this point, I'm looking to slide my queen in here, and between my queen and my light square bishop, either get a checkmate or just start eating up pieces over here. I've got this very aggressive attack on the king, whereas if you look at my king, he's cool as a cucumber, no threats whatsoever, sitting here in the middle of the board. All my pieces are really activated in this game. My opponent's knight over here is doing nothing, just blocking off the rook. Queen's still on her starting square, just really making no threats whatsoever, and this king is under a lot of pressure, and actually this is where my opponent resigns. So I don't see the immediate checkmate, but I was definitely working my way to it. I do feel like I was going to win this game regardless. I'm up 4 material at this point. But again, I'm really pressuring my opponent's king. He's like wiping sweat off his brow. My king over here just laying back in the hammock, sipping the iced tea. That's what it's all about. So Elephant Gambit declined. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I did. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for stopping by.